Alright, so today we're at one of my local guitar centers, and I wanted to put together a budget pedal board for everyone. Now, keep in mind, this is going to be my personal favorite, so you may not think it's a good idea, you may love it, I don't know. But I thought it'd be a fun thing to do. I'm not going to use any of the Wampler stuff. I'm going to try to use the least expensive things I can use and still try to get a great tone. So let's look around a bit, find some cool things, and play through them, and see what you think. Alright, let's go. Alright, so my first thing I'm going to pick out is going to be my delay. Now, the amp that I've picked out has some delay on it, more about that in a minute, but this is the Ibanez, it's their little mini analog delay. Really cool sound and a really cool enclosure, and it's only, I don't know, 100 bucks or something. So, it's pretty inexpensive compared to most high-end analog delays. So let's check this out, and then we'll come along. Alright, so for my dirt, what I've picked out is from TC Electronics. They make a really good sounding overdrive, and it's inexpensive too. It's like 59 bucks, I think. At least here at the Guitar Center it is. And also, the MXR 78 Distortion. It's, what is it, like $79, I think it is. Both of these really cool sounding. They sound great together, and they sound great by themselves. And so for me as a player, this is what I would basically use. So now let's go find a guitar, and then we'll find an amp as well. 032. Okay, so for the guitar amps, now keep in mind we're going for budget price stuff. So I'm not going to run through a deluxe reverb or anything like that, which if you watch my channel, you know that's what I like a lot of the time. I started out with the Katanas, great sounding amps. They really were. I almost picked this one actually. The Katana 100, I think it is. But I found a Black Star. I haven't played this before, but I found a Black Star, what's it called, ID Core 100, and this thing sounds fantastic. The dirt sounds good in it. It's super flexible. It's got EQ, you know, of course it's got EQ, but it's got modulation, it's got delay, it's got reverb built into it, so you can use that as well. It's got two different great clean channels that are pretty fantastic. And I'm going to take a guess, because I haven't looked up the stats on this, but I'm going to guess this is probably a digitally based amp. And it sounds like it's not a digitally based amp. It sounds super good. So this is, you know, 300 and a half or so, 369 in the price there. And for 369, I can't imagine finding a better amp in that price bracket. Now ordinarily, I would be looking up here, looking at that Paisley, and probably salivating pretty hardcore on that. But I would not consider 1,200 bucks necessarily a budget price guitar. I love the Les Paul stuff, and I think the Telecaster's kind of like, it's one of those things that's great at a lot of things. You can kind of get a stratty, sort of throaty sound, or you can kind of get a meteor, that would be something that falls from the sky. More meaty sort of sound from the bridge pickup, and maybe roll the tone back off a little bit. So it's probably my, as you know, my all-time favorite guitar. I would probably, it's a rough one. We got one with humbuckers. It's a Squire for $349. I love the humbuckers, but I also like the single coils. It's a hard one to choose from. Keeping budget price in mind, this one's $179, this Squire. Let's run with that. I'm sure it sounds wonderful, and it's got a cool color as well. So let's run it into this amp and see what we think. So the thing I also did not show you is what arguably I probably would have, if I didn't have the option of a little tuner like this, that would have been the first pedal that I chose, because I think it's absolutely critical to be in tune. I think that's one of the main things when you hear, well, both. When you hear someone play guitar and your ears used to hearing someone playing in tune, you pick it out immediately. Also, if you aren't in tune, you may play a chord here and then play it somewhere else, and it may sound decent up, you know, in the second position, but the first position may be way off, or vice versa. So, and that has a little bit to do with intonation as well, but for sure, being in tune is critical. Now, so yeah, just I'm running one of these on the headstock. Now, if I was playing a gig, I wouldn't be running this on the headstock. It's hard to rock out, you know, with your dad shorts and your dad shirts with one of these on the headstock. I mean, I guess you can, but you know, it's just not sexy. And look at me, I sell sexy, you know? So, all right, so let's talk about this amp. The two different clean tones. Here's the first clean tone. Then we have a little bit of a warmer clean tone. Now I know, like, we're not miking right here. We don't have mics in front of it. We're not running to IRs or anything. You're hearing the camera sound, so it's not going to be the most optimal. That, you know, if we were demoing the amp, obviously we would have a ribbon and a 57 or something that was you know, a really good miking situation for the amp. But this is not about that. This is about the gear we're using. So those are the two cleans. Let me show you the crunch. There's two crunch channels and then two different distortion channels. So here's that crunch. Nice and crunchy. A little bit more crunch. Then we'll add more overdrive on top of it. I call it an overdrive. Basically, it's a higher gain distortion. Then we'll go more gain. So again, just tons of options with a $300 amp. Now let's talk about delays. The delay on this guy. And I know it's really hard to pick up on camera, but there's a certain texture to this delay in the amp that I haven't heard in a built-in delay in an amp before. It has it almost sounds like it's coming from around you rather than directly at you. And to me, it sounds like it's due to the stereo nature of this amp. It's just fantastic. So, and there's a couple different types as well. So that's just a quick demo on the delay itself. Let's go to the reverb, a couple different reverb options. So basically a quick room here. Next reverb. So almost more of a sort of a plate style, I would say. And then another sort of plate style. Actually, I take that back. That sounds a little more springy to me. Then this fourth type is probably my favorite one on the amp. It's more of a, it sounds more like a room to me. So let's combine that with the delay. All right. Just a really ambient type of texture that's, like I said, I don't usually hear it on an inexpensive amp like this. So that's a very cool feature. And for me personally as a player, that's one of the reasons why I didn't pick a fancier delay like a Memory Man. If I was way more into like different delay textures or more ambient type stuff, I probably would have picked up a Memory Man or something like that. Or one of the, what's the other electro harmonics thing? Canyon, I think it's called. Another cool pedal that is really good at that sort of thing. But for my purposes, you know, add just a little bit of reverb, we'll add just a little bit of delay.
Yes.
And actually, let me take that delay off because I want to show you the pedals I picked out. The first one, the Sender's Overdrive. I got the drive up about 2 o'clock or so. Tone control, just a taste, and volume to taste. So that is the overdrive. We'll go to the distortion on the 78. Now I have the distortion level cranked way up, so it's pretty crunchy. And if we want to run those together, I'll crank the gain down on both of them. We can stack them together. Then on top of that, we have the delay. Got a fairly quick delay time there, so I'll turn that up just a bit, turn the blend down. So you can see by comparison when you heard the delay on this, that would be two totally different types of delays. I like an analog delay mainly myself for more like a slapback thing. If I'm looking for more ambient type stuff, I'm going to use more of a crystal clean with modulation. Not quite the type of delay that's going to take off a lot of highs, so to speak. So that's what I prefer personally as a player. All right, so there you go. That is what me personally, that's the kind of rig I would try to build here. You know, with money being the primary factor, still wanting a great sound. It can be done. You don't have to buy this stupidly ridiculous stuff to get it. And it's, you know, it's great equipment. So check it out at your local Guitar Center or your local music store or wherever. See what you think. And I'd love to know in the comments below, what would you have done differently? What stuff would you have put in there? What amps would you have played? What pedals would you have chosen? What guitar would you have used? So thanks for watching. We'll see you next week with a new video.